as I signed up for the program, I also signed up for the retreat. And so, really didn't know anyone. A lot of guys I could tell were close with one another. You can just really see the camaraderie that's built within the group. And if the foundation is just good, like-minded people that are trying to become better fathers, I'm all in. Signed up, joined, and it was just a life-changing experience.
Today's guest is Jason Zygadlo, one of our very own FFP brothers. Jason has been with the FFP for 1 year, and he started the program by coming to our Sedona retreat last fall. Today, Jason shares his powerful journey of overcoming challenges like a cancer diagnosis of Hodgkin's lymphoma, and we discuss Jason's process for overcoming daily challenges and becoming more consistent with exercise and nutrition so he can be his best version for himself and his family.
When I'm eating better, then usually I'm on point with my working out too. Once one of them gets derailed ever so slightly, that's why it's so critical to kind of rein it back in. It's a challenge, the struggle is real, but you have to embrace it too. And there's no better feeling than like to be able to check off all your boxes at the end of the day. I ate well, got my workout in, got my cold shower, cold plunge in. These are all wins. And like when you can stack those wins, that's when the confidence comes out. And that's just when the whole mentality and ability to attack and conquer things just really strengthens.
Hey Fit Fathers, this is your official invitation to come to our first ever conference called Fit Father, Fit Mother Live. Join us in August 2025 for 3 transformational days designed to help you overcome one of life's greatest obstacles, staying consistent and motivated with your health amidst the challenges of life. At Fit Father, Fit Mother Live, we're bringing together world-class health experts to help you become more focused, more disciplined, and take your results to the next level. Day 1 of the event focuses on mindset and mental health because, as you know, real change starts in your mind. We'll give you strategies to reduce stress and unlock greater discipline, motivation, and mental clarity. Day 2 focuses on physical health and longevity. You'll hear from top doctors and experts on the latest methods to speed up your fat loss, build muscle, enhance your longevity, and overcome obstacles like nagging injuries. Day 3 is all about the power of community and accountability. You'll make real connections with like-minded fit fathers and fit mothers who will become your friends and support you long after this event ends. We'll also have dozens of top-tier health companies on-site as vendors, showcasing the latest products, technologies, and innovations to support your health journey. This is so much more than just a conference. This event is your chance to connect with your fellow fit family, to recharge your batteries on an unbelievable wellness vacation, and take your fitness results to the next level. Don't miss out on the best fitness event of 2025. Register now at fitfatherproject.com/2025 to secure your spot today. All right, Jason, welcome officially to the Fit Father Project podcast, brother. I'm so happy to be with you this morning and to have you here on this conversation.
Dr. A, so great to see you again. Happy Friday. Just grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm grateful too. And it's been about a year since we've seen each other in person, because around this time last year, we were hanging out together in Sedona, Arizona at the retreat, which was a really powerful experience for both of us. And in fact, I'll say not only was the retreat and the event itself powerful, but you and I, had some really deep and awesome conversations. So it's fun for me now that we get to have it in this forum and we get to share your very inspirational story and tell the guys about your family. So on that kind of tee up here, please introduce yourself, your name, your age, where you're from, anything you'd like to share about your family and work, and we'll start from there.
Sure. Yeah, appreciate it. So my name's Jason Zygadlo. I'm 45 years old. I live a little bit south of Cleveland, Ohio, in Brunswick, Ohio. I have been a 20-year medical device salesman. Just up until less than a year ago, I left the industry kind of abruptly and started my own business called Build Your Own Brand to help people be unique and different and memorable. Small businesses and individuals who are looking to just grow and get better when it comes to job search or advancing in their current careers. So having a lot of fun doing it. And I'm married, got married in COVID 2020, which was interesting in itself. First time I've been married. I do have a 14-year-old daughter named Kaylee, and I have a 5-week-old named Jason Jr. So super excited. And it's an interesting time right now.
I mean, that's a powerful experience now to be having, a 5 week old son at this point. I think it goes without saying you have a lot of reasons to be a fit father.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Fully embraced it. And we can get into this a little bit more, but I was diagnosed in 2019 with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was not sure if would ever have children again. And so this whole experience is truly a blessing and one that I'm fully embracing. And really, I mean, I think now more than ever, having such a young little guy who's depending on me to make good choices and to do the right thing. It's almost like reinvigorating in a way. Obviously my daughter has inspired me to do those things as well. But, here I have a 5 week old who has a long future ahead and is counting on his dad to do his part. So I'm excited to be held accountable and to do the work.
I love it. And how'd you find out about the program? I know we had Sedona last year, but like, what was your kind of come into the Fit Father project? What were the early steps like?
Yeah, so man, it goes back to I was in a real bad place. I think, the chemotherapy from the Hodgkin's lymphoma created a lot of neuropathy and a lot of pain. And I had just lost my mother. And I mean, full disclosure, Dr. A, I am a mama's boy. Love my mom. And to lose her, and then I love small startup companies in the medical device world. I had lost my job. And so, I was drinking a little bit more than I normally probably would have. And things were just really kind of bad for me. I was in a lot of pain physically, emotionally, spiritually. I just felt a little out of touch. And so I was looking for like retreats or some kind of just group to affiliate myself with. I felt like I needed something. I just wanted to challenge myself. Felt like I was kind of becoming, comfortable in this rut. And I'm like, that's not me. And so through just some kind of personal research, I stumbled upon Fit Father Project. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And just kind of start picking away and, clicking on things. And before I knew it, I saw a video of like this trip to Sedona and like, holy crap, this looks cool. And so, after further exploring, I'm the type of guy where I'm just kind of always all in. So as I signed up for the program, I also signed up for the retreat. And so, really didn't know anyone. A lot of guys I could tell were close with one another. You can just really see the camaraderie that's built within the group. For me, I didn't have that because A, I was new, and B, I don't spend a ton of time on Facebook. And so I felt like, there's these guys who already know each other, but that's the challenge to myself. I'm going to go meet new guys, and I'm not afraid. I'm not shy. I love to network and connect with people anyway. And if the foundation is just good, like-minded people that are trying to become better fathers, I'm all in. And so signed up, joined, and it was just a life-changing experience. I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
Let's get into that. I mean, like, just because it's fun, and I know relative to the number of guys who listen to this podcast and are part of the community, only a small fraction of that has gotten to experience, the power of coming to Sedona itself as a place, but also, being with the Fit Father group and getting to bond and do the activities. So like, what was really memorable from that trip? Like, and how did it change you, and what did you take away from it?
Yeah, it's such a great question, such a powerful question. I loved meeting guys and really getting to know guys in a deeper, more intimate level. I think there was a lot of time to really connect with people, throughout the activities and then just at night. I think that when I did go, I mean, if I'm being totally honest, I was a little nervous, because here I see a whole bunch of guys who have been in the program a while. In their journey, they're like at a certain place. And here I am coming in fresh, and I'm like, I'm probably the unhealthiest I've ever been, but mentally know like what I'm capable of, And so it's like, that was also motivating to me. It's just to see these guys, and I'm like, yo, man, that used to be me, and it needs to be me again. It doesn't have to be, that's the old me, and he's never around again or can't resurrect himself. And so just being around that energy. But I think also, and I think more important or equally important for me was like the holistic approach. It wasn't
Hmm.
just like, we work out for 8 hours a day and, don't eat any carbs. Like it was like not that. I mean, there was so much more to it in terms of learning how to do breath work effectively and the cold plunge, which was like super cool and exciting. All of these other little things that really made the trip just an unforgettable experience.
Yeah, for me too. And I'll share a personal reflection in this. I remember we were driving to one of our hikes, and you were in the front seat with me. I was
Mm,
driving the van to get us there. And you were opening up about, your past relationships. You just shared with me that you're literally your grandma just died like that day.
yeah,
And then you were the first guy in the brotherhood I told that I was going through a divorce. And
yeah,
so on that car, and like that's just cool. Like for me, it's like I've
yeah,
have a powerful connection to be able to get to open up with you in that moment. And actually, I think our conversation inspired me to really share that later that year with the whole brotherhood, and and make a more powerful stand for what we're doing in Fit Father. And like it goes far beyond just physical fitness. It is
yeah.
health on all levels. It is holistic. And part of that is vulnerability and honesty and, leaning into hard things, which, based on your life story, you're a pro at that, man, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember the trip. I remember being in the front seat. I remember just like, wow, here's this guy who, you obviously see on the advertisements and like the face, the brand of Fit Father, but so relatable, so genuine and authentic, just willing to open up and share. Yeah, some stories. Like it just made it very real for me too. Like just having those conversations with you. So again, that stuff is invaluable, and both of us just kind of sharing some real deep things that we're probably better off for now by
Yeah,
getting
for
it
sure.
off of our chest, and so that's what it's all about, and that's really largely what I took away from the trip.
So Sedona definitely breathed a lot of like inspiration, fire, and connection to what Fifth Father represents and how you fit into that. Like, what's been going on since that time? It's been almost a year, and a lot's changed for you. You starting this business. Now having a son. But like, how's your fitness slotted into this? Like, where do you feel like you're getting lots of traction? What are areas that are challenging? I just want to hear about how the program's been working in your life and what you've been learning and working on.
Yeah, yeah. So lots of things. I mean, first of all, I need to be real with myself always. Like every day is a struggle. Like, and for me, it's more like pain, and getting through. Like, because I was just talking to my wife about this yesterday. Like, I've always been a fit guy, healthy guy. I love little mini marathons. I like to kayak. I wasn't ever a big swimmer, but like I
Hmm.
can remember way before my diagnosis, always being involved, basketball leagues, all of these different things. And like to just see myself nosedive from there and then constantly struggling to get back up the mountain, is been tough. But the structure of the program is really helpful and valuable. I think the Apex workouts and just keeping them simple. Like before getting sick, I always worked out with a trainer. Partly because I just like to show up. Like, hey, we're doing this and this today. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
boom, let's get after it. And so I think I was overcomplicating things. I think I struggled with a lot of comparing myself today, Jason, versus
Hmm.
like old Jason. And that's still a challenge for me personally, that like I don't have to still be that old same guy. I'm not that guy. Things have changed and made me a little bit different, but it still doesn't mean that I'm so suppressed and can't still make incremental gains. And as long
Hmm.
as I continue to be okay with that and tell myself that, hey, that's okay, then I'm usually like my biggest critic and my hardest kind of person to please. But
Hmm.
again, kind of alluding back to the program, I think having some of that structure, simplifying some of the diet and the nutrition part of it, like I'm the guy that like overcomplicates everything, and then it's
Yeah.
almost paralysis by analysis, right? So then I'm like, F it, I'm not doing any of it, like because
Totally.
it's just so overwhelming. And so those are the things that I continue to work on. My weight, I've always, pre cancer, and I guess I've always been like 190, 195, like right in that area. It's always been a comfortable weight for me. I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten as heavy. I think when I was on the trip, it was probably my heavier weight was like 225. I think a lot of the steroids, most people think cancer. I didn't lose a ton of weight like you see in the movies. I actually
Mm-hmm.
gained a fair amount of weight. I think largely from some of the medications that I had received, and then just kind of got into this slump. My joints, my bones, everything just constantly hurts. Even almost 5 years in February, I'll be out, but like the pain in a lot of ways is still the same. So the programs just really help simplify things for me. The brotherhood, and connecting with certain guys who have, kind of been up here too and have worked their way into a space where they want to be, and just kind of helping motivate each other with those types of conversations. And then lean on Kat, and having good conversations with her. Just, from more of an accountability perspective. I think those are the things that I've utilized the program for, which
Mm-hmm.
have really kind of helped me to get to where I am. And it's every day, like I said, is a struggle. It's just winning the day.
Yeah, I want to dive into that a little bit more because I think there is a really valuable conversation in here about maybe it's a conversation around you've experienced a very big shift or challenge, like in your case, cancer, in my case, some like near life ending injuries that have fundamentally changed your capacities. And then we need to learn to be okay with that. There's this element of acceptance. At the same time, we still need to show up every day and we want to find engaging energy in what we're doing.
Sure.
So, like, I ask you, like, okay, so you get out of bed, your body's hurting, your feet are hurting, joints are hurting, you don't feel like it today. Like, where do you go in terms of your mindset? What do you do? Do you just get started? Like, how do you engage through those, tough inertia kind of moments when they come up?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, there's always that little guy on each shoulder, right? And it's like, stay in bed, it's warm. And then, hey, if you don't get up now, like you're not going to get the workout in, or go for a walk, whatever you're trying to do. If you don't do it now, you're probably not going to do it. And then the rest of the day is going to kind of, before you know it, it's the end of the day, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to hold myself accountable. I listen to a lot of podcasts, like I listen to a lot of Andy Frisella, David Goggins, like
Yeah.
these guys get me. Dr. A, these guys, they motivate me in a way. Like I really resonate with some of the messaging that comes from everyone that I just described, and
Mm-hmm.
for me it really does help me quite a bit. And so, and I also think that I'm the type of person that if I don't attack it right now, I'm just have that like OCD, like I like checking stuff off of a to-do list. That's how I hold myself accountable. I keep it in my planner so then I can
Yeah.
check it off, or I keep it in my phone in the little calendar thingy so I can take it off and delete it because it's
Yeah.
done. And so I'm just wired that way. So yeah, so those are the things that really, and then my family, the mission statement that I came up with, I don't want to lie to myself. I want to be honest and true to myself. Like every day, as I mentioned, I say it a lot. It's a struggle, but I pledged that at a time when I felt very strongly about adhering to it, and really not only for me but for my family. And so I try to lean on that, and remember that I pledged this thing, and if I don't kind of adhere to what I've put on paper, if you will, then I am lying to myself, and I don't want to be that guy. So
Mm-hmm.
I've set myself up with little things just to continuously hold myself accountable.
Yeah. I really like that. And I want to comment on a few things. One, I think this idea of using either a planner or a calendar to like check boxes and make that like an operating system
Yep.
is so key because it actually works with, how the brain is wired and dopamine hits. Like you literally, like you do something, you check the box, you get the neurochemistry boost, and then you feel good, and it kind of reinforces that habit. Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. Two, surrounding yourself with inspirational messages that elevate us. Like this is why listening to podcasts passively while you're doing things are really good. Obviously, referencing the mission statement is fantastic. And I actually, and I guess I kind of want to challenge a little bit of your language. And I don't mean this in the sense of that I'm not dictating what your lived experience is, because you do experience a lot of challenges. But I think the idea of saying something like every day is a struggle is a little bit different than even a sentence I would say is like, I experience challenges and struggles due to my body. And I think that one is like a statement of like, you're in an environment that is inescapable, and the nature of it is struggle or challenge. And I guess it might feel like that sometimes. I think a slight reframe of language is like, I often experience like challenges and struggle and don't feel like it. That is more like a statement of an experience that then you have a chance to like move or choose differently. And
Sure.
as I've matured, I think that the language patterns are important because they do fundamentally represent how we're relating to our life reality. And I think these like statements of like, I am, or I do, or this is, are like our more static foundational belief structures. And I do think that we can make small tweaks to them to make improvements. For example, like exercise is struggle in its very nature. We're loading muscles in a way that they don't necessarily want to be loaded so that there's adaptation. So we could even embrace struggle. And I don't know how that resonates with you, and like, if there's any reflection based on what you just shared.
Totally. No, it's a great point. And, I have a little Post-it note on my bathroom mirror that says, I am an athlete. And for
Yes.
me, it's like, I was struggling with, kind of alluding back to what I was saying earlier. Like I used to be all these things and I used to do this and I used to do that. Well, from exactly what you described, I'm trying to repeat that to myself. Like I am an athlete. I was an athlete. I still am an athlete. And I'm
Yes.
getting back into this, being an athlete, living like an athlete, doing athlete things.
Yes.
And
That's
so,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah. So again, it's that saying it, thinking it, doing it, believing it, becomes it. And so, yeah, the little Post-it note, when you just described all that, it made me think of, that was a kind of a recent thing for me in the last couple of weeks.
I love that. I think there's so much and life. I have this idea of like life energy, like the stuff that engages us on the journey that like propels us forward is like this positive life energy. And we know the opposite of that is stagnation, inertia, guilt and shame, drinking or escaping with whatever thing. It's like the opposite energy. And so like moving into a powerful, identity or statement that energizes you is great, while also having the maturity of accepting that this chapter of you as an athlete is different than the chapter in your 20s and your 30s. It's just like, it's a new chapter. So what it looks like to be an athlete today has its own parameters. So we're still accepting
Yeah.
the changes, but we're still like moving forward and kicking ass. And I think that's why we were really inspired by people who are like 80 or 90 in the gym and they're racking out like pull-ups, even if they're assisted pull-ups. It's like so inspirational because like you have constraints. You're not as strong as you were 30, 40 years ago, but you're still crushing it and you're still having fun with it. So that's where we're all, I think, ultimately, if we get there, then we have a lot of joy in this fitness journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Nice. So how does this play with, your daughter? How old is she again?
She's 14. She's a
Okay.
freshman. Yep.
And now, so is she into sports?
Yeah, yeah. She's actually playing. Proud of her. That proud dad moment right now.
Let's
So
go.
freshman, sitting varsity, starting
Wow.
JV, and
Wow.
actually captain on the JV team. And there's
Wow.
some sophomores that are not happy with her, but her coach pulled her aside and said, "Just your team approach and team first approach is like very recognizable. We want to honor you with this captainship or whatever." So
Wow.
yeah, just really cool to see.
That's awesome. And like, what's your relationship been like with her as you've gone through this health journey? And maybe it's like, what has she seen? How has that changed? Like, what kind of energy is happening as she's seeing you focus more on your health? Has there been any unique exchange as you've kind of like stepped into this fit father role in terms of what she's seen, you've seen, how health has become a part of what you guys do?
Yeah, it is actually. So I find that, her and we go play tennis together now.
Nice.
And we find things to do together that, create some kind of activity. Usually, so mom and I aren't together. So, she's at her mom's. So when she comes here, she knows that, typically we go on walks together. I always like to walk. In fact, we're doing we have a nonprofit called Walk Along with Ziggy Strong. We're getting prepared for that right now, but we always walk in our neighborhood 2.24 miles
Nice.
because that represents my remission date of February 24th.
So cool.
And so, yeah, so she knows, when we go on walks, we try to get to that number. And so, yeah, so I think that, yeah, overall, just doing more with her and being active, because she's really at the peak right now of, her athleticism and wanting to be out and doing things is just really kind of motivated me too, to want to be a part of that.
Yeah. And even that thing is as simple as walking and then having the number that's so meaningful. I just know that's planting seeds deep in her mind and in, what she experiences as normal that are going to make it a lot more likely that she has like a really healthy family life when she gets to that stage in, a decade plus and all that. So that's
Right.
awesome.
Yep.
For you, any non-scale victories you've experienced in this last year? Like any moments where you're just like, dang, honestly, like I'm proud of myself. This is amazing. Someone says something. Like any NSVs you've had in this last year?
Yeah, I have lost some weight. I've had some people notice that, just from I think probably my face is trimmed up a little bit, but yeah, I think just my overall, I have a personality where you can usually tell when I'm kind of in the dumps or I'm not feeling myself, because I just usually have a pretty, you know, upbeat personality. So when it's down, it's pretty noticeable. And even my wife has said, this change in business and, really trying to incorporate and staying on track with all of your fitness routines. And I just see a different you, your personality is just like the old you. And so that's important to me because I am me and I want to be the me that people, know and like and want to be around. And, and then I think, just really the consistent, and again, I keep all these things in my phone so I can check them off, is either the cold shower or the cold plunge.
Nice.
Which is like totally just to start the day. There's no better way. Really just invigorating and exciting to get through that, because every day I find it doesn't get easier just because you've been doing it for X amount of days. It's still just a mental challenge to sit in that water for a few minutes. And you could either embrace it and kind of breathe through it and accept it, or, I can tell when it's like, I want to cut it short, but I don't, because, it's easy to do and want to do, but, then I'm starting the day off kind of in the lost category. And that's not what I want to do.
Totally. As a fellow guy that cold plunges every day, I have a desert plunge, which we had up there in the Sedona retreat. They're a great brand from Arizona,
Yes.
makes great cold plunges. I think it's kind of like a microcosm of what we were talking about earlier, the statement that like I experience challenges every day. And it might be like, even like I actively embrace challenges and overcome them because I know they make me better. Like that's exactly what cold plunging is.
Yep.
Straight up uncomfortable, absolutely good for you. All it requires is a decision to like set aside 5 minutes to put on swim trunks, get out there, have the willingness to dunk yourself underwater and relax. Like it's not a hard thing to do logistically. It's actually very efficient if you have one.
Right.
But it is training us to embrace those challenges, and exercise too, right? Morning workouts, like same thing. So I think those are just key. And, when you have the idea of like, what is the opposite of a fit father, like a, middle-aged, overweight, kind of depressed guy, he's a guy that's not actively pursuing any challenges. He might be in cruise control in his career, static area with his family. And so like this stuff is pivotal. This is what keeps us sharp as men. And I think when we feel sharp as men and like we're actually leaning into challenge, that's when we feel alive. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah. It reminds me of a quote that I love. It's comfort is the enemy of growth. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not finding ways to challenge yourself to just be better, then you kind of stay in that stagnant slump. And that, that can also build momentum in a negative way, where you just start to go down that path and that starts to compound. And before you know it, you're really deep into a hole. So, it's important that if I miss a workout, because listen, I would be lying if I said there are days where I just don't do it for whatever
Yep.
reason. But I do find that this is 100% true for me. If I let it go beyond a day,
Mm-hmm.
then I can start to see the pendulum swing that way.
Yes.
And then that starts to compound negatively. So I have to nip it in the ass quickly,
Yes.
because if I don't, then boom, I'm starting to already shift to the other way. And
Yep.
I know that to be true in my nutrition. I know
Yep.
that to be true in my workouts. I know that to be true just in my thoughts and just in what I'm doing. So I'm really intentional about being mindful of watching these things objectively, because when I see that something start to going into the direction that I know it can't, then I
Yep.
have to really grab it. That's the scale. I see a couple
Mm-hmm.
pounds go up, boom,
Yep.
I'm on a fast, right?
Yep.
Like I have to. And fasting was the other thing. I mean, I was doing fasting, I think, before it really was even cool, because I worked in the operating rooms all the time and was in procedures for long periods of time that I
Mm-hmm.
usually only ate later on in the day. I've
Mm-hmm.
always felt good that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there was a time when I got away from that. And now that I've kind of reintroduced it for quite some time, it just really kind of keeps me in that sweet spot where I know I need to be, that I do well and thrive.
Love it. Love it. Powerful stuff we're getting to. I think like a couple things. I saw this like it's like this ball of our momentum is rolling and it has hooks on it, and sometimes like a day misses a hook, like the workout doesn't catch, and so the next day you want to make sure that that hook latches, so you keep this positive traction momentum. And I love that you have like specific simple protocols to do that. I mean, with exercise you just got to like get it in the next day, like really commit to it, block the time. But with nutrition, or if you're sliding off track, like you deploy, I'm going to do a fast. It's like
Yeah,
that tool that automatically aligns you. And for all the guys listening, and Jason, I want you to reflect on this too.
sure.
I feel like we're all trying to get traction in a couple areas, like with our eating, with our workouts, and maybe with our sleep, and like how well we're managing stress. And I think we all have a predisposition to be good at some of those, you know, naturally. Like some guys are really good at, I really don't miss the workout, but they struggle with the food. Other guys like can get the food, but maybe they miss the workouts. I think it's good to just know where you fall. Me personally, I'm dialed in on food. Always, basically always on point, but I do sometimes miss workouts from busyness perspective. So I know that's the area where I need to really like lean into and focus on building traction. For everyone listening, like really reflect, like, are you the kind of person that misses sleep and then the snowball happens? Like, you're in a unique situation with sleep, having a 5-week-old. So let's like table that for a second.
Right.
What's your reflection on it? Is it the food, or is it the workout? Or are you a little more balanced? Like, where are the areas where you feel like you slip? And then, yeah, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I think similarly to you, I struggle more with the workouts. Again, if I don't make it a priority to do it as early as possible, then I feel like the day gets away from itself. And before you know it, now you're trying to squeeze a workout in at 10 p.m., and
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen. Right.
Right.
Like, when I was younger, sure, go to the 24-hour gyms and do these things. And I don't want to say it was more of a priority then, but like you just didn't have as much responsibility. Now you have
Right.
family, you have just different things, just life. Right. So I have to prioritize it early and get those things done up front, because I know already that if I don't, then the likelihood of me getting it done is not good. And then if that continues over to the next day and it happens again, then it's very easy to just say, you know what, I'm just going to take a couple days off, or so you
Exactly.
got to grab it and bring it back over. Like you said, the hook has to kind of catch,
Yep.
because otherwise, again, it's just managing the pendulum, and trying to create momentum in the positive way. And look, I think one thing that I also learned from the Fit Father, I remember like reading something in some of the literature, and it was like, look, like, you can eat a McDonald's sandwich, but just take the damn bun off, like one
Right.
side of it. I'm like, wow, like genius, So like, if I'm making better decisions,
Yeah.
then I'm okay with that. And like, there was
Right.
a part of me at some point that was not okay with that. But like, when you're so rigid and don't give yourself any grace,
Totally.
you also end up failing too, I think, or have a tendency to perhaps kind of head in that direction. So giving yourself some grace, being open to where you're at and what stage you're at, and just giving it your best. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Nailed it. Nailed it. Absolutely. And I think that visual example of the food, like, even like fast food with some modifications is still like great. It's a tool. It's like a scaled down version of perfect, but still like on the good positive track. Exercise, I feel that a lot of guys get tripped up because there's a constraint that the exercise to check the box needs to look a certain way. You need to do a 45-minute apex, or you need to do an hour of strength training, or you need to do this HIIT workout specifically. And that has like limitations. You need to be like in the area with the weights at this time when you planned. And that, I guess, in a sense is both beneficial, but also a little bit of rigidity that doesn't always work. So what I'm thinking and feeling is, why not have a pared down version of it? Okay, you couldn't train today, but do you have 5-10 minutes after dinner to do a little like walk jog, or can you just commit to throughout the day? I don't have time for workout today, but I'm going to try to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and one other thing, 100 sit-ups, and you just spread those throughout the day. Like, we all have the ability to do that.
Yes.
We're just not in the habit and the process of doing that. But if we did, we know how good we'd feel. It would be, we'd end the day being like, damn, I didn't have time to work out, but I got 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups. And this was normally something I just skipped. So now I feel awesome about myself, and I'm more likely to work out tomorrow. So
yep,
man, it's
well,
cool.
And they're so synergistic too, right, Dr. A?
Yeah.
So it's like when I'm eating better, then usually I'm on point with my working out too. Mm-hmm. And like once one of them gets derailed ever so slightly, that's why it's so critical to kind of rein it back in, because you can just derail so quickly. And it's a challenge. The struggle is real, but you have to embrace it too. And there's no better feeling than like to be able to check off all your boxes at the end of the day.
Heck
I ate
yeah.
well, got my workout in, got my cold shower, cold plunge in. These are all wins. And like when you can stack those wins, that's when the confidence comes out. And that's just when like your whole, mentality and just ability to attack and conquer things just really strengthens. So it's important.
I agree. And what's interesting is like what you just described there is in theory as true now in 40s as it will be in 80s. And what I mean by that, that's the context. That's the context of like how you approach every day, of like doing healthy things for yourself, checking the boxes, moving forward. The content will be different. You'll be at a different stage of life, doing different things, but that's the context. So whereas like we're building muscle to do this process. And like maybe like when we're 80 and you're a grandpa, maybe a great grandpa, whatever that looks like, you might have different goals every day. It might be getting up, writing something, going for a walk, gardening, like whatever that ends up looking like for you, but we're still going to be checking the boxes. So we got to get this muscle to do that. I love it.
Yep.
Okay. So I want to ask you a different question and kind of lean into the fact that you've made a really big, life change and pivot over the last year with starting your business too. And that requires a lot of energy and creative energy of putting into it. It's a lot of new, it's exciting. You're building new systems and processes. You're clarifying things. And there's a lot of guys who listen to this that are reinventing themselves. Many guys physically reinventing themselves, but I think there's a lot of guys that have, run this version of their career and they're ready to make a change or do something different. So can you just speak into the process of making that change, how you got the confidence to do that, if this was a long-standing thing that you always wanted to, and how you're kind of integrating it and balancing it with a family life, with the past career you've had? I just want to hear about the balance of the new business and what that's been like for you.
Yeah, sure. So I think, I think everyone always struggles with a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like if I create this, like, is someone really going to listen or want it? The service that I provide. So what I will say is over time of being a medical device sales rep, I've always somehow been anointed as the person to come to when it was for jobs, the family, friends, because it's such a difficult industry to break into, that I knew once I did do that, and I did it right out of college, it's quite unheard of. And so, that was the confidence for me to know that I kind of knew the blueprint to helping people differentiate themselves. A friend of mine, Matthew Ray Scott, talks about breaking out of the sea of sameness. Everybody, in job search does it the same way. And so I wanted to help people be different and memorable in their approach. and have helped a lot of people along the way do that. And so, finally it was the inspiration from my wife that was like, look, you can, medical device sales can be a pretty lucrative job, a good industry, but there's a lot of challenges. The landscape has changed. I had a great career. 20-year run was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, you get so much more passion and excitement at this stage when you help someone like actually get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Closing big deals at big hospitals is cool. But I watch you light up, and when you help people, like that just really seems to be like your true calling. And we're pretty faith-based family. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
we just need to like really think about it, pray on it, and talk through it. And, you have my full support. And I'm just like, wow, to walk away from a stable income and,
Yeah.
all of this other stuff. But I'm going to bet on myself because I'm not going to let myself fail. Like that was the mentality. Like I already know I've got enough, testimonials or whatever you want to call it. Like I know the blueprint works. I just have to have enough confidence to do that. But again, alluding back to what I was saying, I think like if I was still, not working on my fitness and nutrition and all of these other things, because they all kind of work so, synergistically, the confidence of, tackling one of these and finding some momentum translates over into some of the other things. Like
Mm-hmm.
from that professional side, I'm like, you know what? F it. Like I'm all in and started this thing. And, I will say there's something so beautiful. I wish I would have probably done earlier, like working for myself. Um, and having the balance now with a young child to do things where I couldn't do when I had like a normal W-2 job. And I think
Mm-hmm.
God just kind of works in mysterious ways. Like like this is always, I'm halfway through an MBA. I was working on this like years ago, and my core project was a consulting business helping people like professionally, like in professional development, getting jobs.
Wow.
And that was tabled for like a long time, right? And then
Wow.
now here I am. And again, I think kudos to my wife. What a just a beautiful human being. I
Yeah.
met her during my cancer diagnosis. She certainly
Wow.
could have left, but it's just a testament, I think, to who she is and how she ticks and operates, and just so grounded and supportive. And so, her blessing to do this and start this business. She's like my number one raving fan. Like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing enough or this or that. She's like, you just did this or that. Like, give yourself some grace and credit. And so it's just nice to have someone so supportive, during this transitional time for me.
For sure. I picked a lot of stuff up there. One, obviously, the power of having someone who really loves you, who encourages you and gives you, I guess, the confidence to take those first initial steps because they believe in you believe in you, and it's that good synergy of that.
Yep.
And also just the significance of how there's these full circle dreams or ideas or through lines of experience that can really flower later on in life that you almost like you probably forgot about for some time where it wasn't big, and now bam, here it is. It's like your whole business part of your life is reoriented to this core that's been there for so long. That's beautiful. And what I find so significant, like looking at your life from the outside, is and you're really like, if being a parent creates a time container for your experience, you're literally starting a fresh new race, like right now, like
Yeah.
new career, a son that's like, he's in a decade, he's going to be just 10. He'll be graduated college in 2 decades. And like, that's honestly exciting. You'll have another 20-year career by the time that he's in college on this kind of stuff.
So
Like,
true.
how cool is that? Like, this is a full new run. And that jazzes me up for you.
Yeah, yeah, so true. Yeah, and it's so well said. Like my wife was like, yeah, Jay, our son will never know me as a medical device guy. Will never see me running around in scrubs. Like my daughter's always seen me travel and do all these sorts of things. But he's going to see you as this guy who had the courage to start his own thing and run with it. And it's equally rewarding and satisfying to just know that he's going to see a dad that has done that, a father that's really just not afraid and has the courage and belief in himself to do something that may seem completely crazy at this stage. But you know what? If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be me.
Love that. So cool. All right. So final few questions. What's some advice you have for new guys starting the program or considering joining Fit Father?
Yeah, I would say stop the consideration and just do it. I think like jumping in and then kind of figuring it out. I think, again, I talked a little bit about the whole paralysis by analysis. You can really kind of get caught up in all of that. And I think, for most people, when you just kind of embrace something, and especially if you are kind of on the fence, challenge yourself. Let that be your first win. Just go ahead and do it. And then, embrace it. And look, everyone's starting at different stages of their journey. I think sometimes too, it's easy to compare yourself with like other people, but like, as long as you're continuously getting better, and full disclosure, I'm that guy. Like I often look to my peers and go, wow, like they're doing this or that. But like, I have my own journey with my own, different obstacles and this and that. And as long as I'm continuing to get better and improve, then that's a win. And I would just tell people to do the same. Like, embrace your starting point, but start. Comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're not happy with where you're at, then it's time to do something different, because otherwise you're going to blink your eye and it's going to be another year, 2 years, 5 years. And you're going to go, wow, I would have been that much further if I would have just started and made some progress, even incremental steps of growth, than just kind of thinking about it and talking about it and not doing it. So, that's my biggest piece of advice, is just embrace it. And you'll see the confidence start to build when you start to get small wins, and be okay with just little wins. Maybe it's, you tweak your nutrition and eat healthy, one meal, and then that turns into 2 meals, and then you start to feel better from it. Now it's like, wow, I'm buying more groceries that just support having all my meals this way. Yeah. And you get one walk in, you get one workout in, and then from there you're like, wow, this is really, feel better. And the juices start to flow and all of it starts to work together. And then bam, then the mental part of it starts to unlock. And you just, you're like a caged animal that just got let out. You want to go attack. So that's cool. My biggest piece of advice.
I love that. That was a great mic drop moment at the end of this podcast. And I want to thank you for the share. I want to thank you for the way you shared today and the places that this conversation went, because of your openness, because of the journey you've been on. I know there's a lot of very useful and inspirational stuff in this podcast that so many men will benefit from. And also, I want you to feel this in the end of this conversation. You literally about a year ago said yes to, a kind of scary trip to come to a retreat of guys you didn't know and something you were interested in but didn't know about. And now fast forward 1 year, you're a deep part of this community. We have this amazing relationship. You've made these changes. You're on a damn podcast sharing the transformation. Like, life is full of so many surprises when you lean into the growth areas and you say yes. So this is what's happened in 1 year, and now you have a son. I'm excited to see what happens for you in the next year and the year after that. Like, you are on such a beautiful trajectory. I'm really proud of you, brother. Thank you for everything.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, I feel truly just grateful and blessed, and just happy that our paths have crossed. And, this whole program and entire experience has just been what I needed at that particular moment in my life. And so just truly, truly grateful.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you today.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Fit Father Project podcast. If you love what you heard, please rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts. It really helps spread this show to more men who need this valuable info. To watch full video episodes of this podcast and other motivational videos to inspire your training and more, visit our Fit Father Project YouTube channel. It's free and everything's made for busy guys over 40 like you. Visit youtube.com/Fit Father Project to get access to our entire video library. And finally, If you or someone in your life is interested in becoming a fit father or needs help losing weight, building muscle, and living healthier after age 40, then visit fitfatherproject.com, where you can see our proven programs, supplement line for guys 40 plus, and free meal plan and workouts to get you started. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi signing off. I'll see you in the next episode.